What do you want? What do they want? This is something that is going to be on my mind for the rest of the night. And more importantly, if you listen for the next couple of minutes, hopefully you'll understand what I'm trying to present here, and not just simply this question that probably doesn't make much sense to you right now, but it should at the end. All of it started a couple of hours ago when talking with a friend of mine, and the conversation drifted over to my brother as far as why things are the way they are with him and me. And honestly, there's a lot of reasons why, not just simply there's time and distance and we live our own lives. The thing is, I've tried time and time again to be a part of his life, and he has shown multiple times, not just to me but to others in my family, our family, that he does not want us in his life. So he pushes us away. He will come back, I don't know, twice, 3 times a year, say hi, wish me a happy birthday or whatever. And I mean, it's nice to hear from him, but nothing changes. Everything is the same. Except this year he has at least one son that I know of, and other issues besides financial ones. So what he wants is pretty clear at this point. It's all about himself. He wants to build up his life. He also wants to protect his son and possibly his wife. He blew up at me when I was trying to talk to him, ask him questions, and he made the assumption that I knew what was going on. I did not then. I know a little bit more now, but I still don't know whatever is going on in his life. So there is something else to present as well, not just simply us, each other, the church, but possible beings out there. So that doesn't need to be explored much, but I will show a couple of clips. I want to say it's interesting to take a look at this stuff just because of what it presents, the idea, the concepts, not necessarily the game itself. I want to say that I am actually tired of the gameplay per se and all of that, but the story, the lore, the characters are incredibly interesting and amazing. That is... the developers are still working on this stuff, so there's still a lot being developed, and honestly, it is the best free game that I've ever come across. So there's a lot done right, there's a lot that's being improved upon and all that. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about the game, but about the concepts. I will, yeah, I'll just go ahead and play it now. All right. Yeah. Now, let's go on to the next one here. These two are suspected to be the same person, the same being, all of that, and it's very interesting there. But yeah, I'll get right to it. that's it. There's other videos that actually go into what that is, who that is, all that. I want to say that the new war has so many more questions than answers, which is good for a lot of reasons. However, the idea that beings out there are listening and care, and that they're not wholly in the physical realm, is something that many people can talk about and speculate on, with some having personal interactions. I think there's a lot there. However, I want to say, let's not just skip ahead and say it always happens in that beyond the physical world, the realm. So, having issues with ourselves, that can alter our perceptions. And reality itself, as I speculate, is more than just simply what we see here and basically going into the metaphysical. However, since we can't really analyze what is spiritual and what is beyond that, at least not yet. Now, in Warframe, they talk about outer space, they talk about the void, they talk about other different parts that exist out in outer space. So, trying to analyze that is basically what is there and what is not there. So you can kind of break things down like that easily, more easily. But trying to break down what is spiritual, it's a complicated mess, and it does start with a couple of things that go from the beginning, and then what exactly happened and why everything is the way it is. And it talks a lot about sin and about what we've done as a whole, as a whole human race, starting with Adam and Eve. That is interesting in the sense that we have introduced something into the entire human race at the very beginning. So that impacts our perception. However, back to the main point here. What do they want? Do they want us? Do they want our souls? Do they want to have the world be in a better place, in a place that is easier for them? And, take a minute to stop and think about this. And you could actually begin to understand that there's more out there at stake than just simply what we want and what we see and all that. That is a lot more complicated, but most people just say it's going to be our souls, it's going to be having worship based around them because, they're gods or whatever, and they deserve praise, glory, all that. I want to say there is a lot there. However, it is personal with what you believe. It's worth a minute or two to talk about. Moving on, I think with companies and organizations, it's a lot more simple and clear. And that would be, they want money, they want influence, they want the ability to influence other major decisions and outcomes. Like, you can see that clearly with politics and when the presidential election comes up. I mean, the last one was already controversial enough as it is, and people largely still suspect that there was tampering, at least on one side, if not both sides. That, I think, is, I'm not going to touch it, but I'm going to say that there's definitely something worth there to mention. Like, there's going to be more resolutions later down the road. The fact that it has not just been a cut and dry case and that it's been going on for years indicates that there's more behind the scene. Now, I don't think that's a good thing. I really don't. So, when it comes down to the more important and critical factors, as far as, what does he want? What does she want? I think for guys, it would be a point, it would be a purpose, it would be something to help give him a drive, a focus, a way forward, as well as a destination. I can guess what it is for women, but since I haven't exactly talked to the women and I haven't really been able to ask them these questions, I can only guess from what I've seen, what I've heard, and the previous conversations that I've had. Many do end up wanting a family, even if they never start off with that in the beginning. So I would have to say families, they want men in their life, whether it is for positive reasons or for other reasons, like self-centered or simply, a means to an end, or to just dump garbage all over them. Because unfortunately, some women like to use men as if they were like emotional tampons. I've seen that. I've unfortunately been the brunt of that. Like, it's happened to me personally back years ago. Didn't really know about it then. I just, I cared and I wanted to be there for my friend. However, I genuinely believe she was a friend. There's others who I know for a fact were just trying to use me. All right. I want to say that overall, when it comes down to the church, because I'm going to wrap this up, the church is a little bit convoluted, because as an organization, they do want money, they do want members, but the message itself is just as important as everything else. And some people do mean very well. They care, and some care even more, so that, like, as you can see, there's a whole bunch of different splits and divisions that's happened all throughout history, where churches ended up growing and splitting apart over differences that they just couldn't reconcile these differences any longer. So they ended up just like, all right, that's it, we'll move on. So growth can happen through that as well. However, the message and all that, let's just say that when things change and grow, the messages can also change and grow too. I want to say that where we fall into that as a whole, it depends on who the leaders are, not just simply the message and whether or not it stays the same. So, members, money, resources, not just money, time, influence. Churches want a lot of things that are actually decent. Now, one of the more interesting aspects is that churches don't really want kids. They want families, they want adults, they want parents, and then the kids, if they're brought along, there's going to be a place made for them. Now, for singles, no. The church does not want singles from what I've seen. Again, it's nice to know that other people are seeing differently. But here where I'm at in North Carolina, that's not exactly happening. Now, I think there's other clips out there that highlight different points that I'm saying here. And if there's anything relevant, please link it down below. I would like to redo this video in the future and actually include more clips properly. Not just simply, here's a clip, let me play it through my phone or whatever. It still counts under the whole free speech or whatever. And it's not going to be the same way where you see my face alongside the other video itself, which is incredibly annoying and irritating. At least this way, it's like I'm just playing something, it's recorded, boom, check it out. This is aggravating. Why? Because some people, some things, they never come out and just say, I want you, I want your money, I want your finances, I want your soul, gimme. They don't do that. And as for the own personal figure in my own life, the one who's there for 13 plus years, I have to say, he didn't want anything except my attention. That's all he wanted. And he didn't say a word. He's never said a single word to me as far as out loud where I could actually physically hear it. It's been through images, it's been through thoughts. And pointing out some other things and actually making the stuff make sense is still interesting even after all these years, and still terrifying when you actually understand some of the concepts that are going on. Terrifying not just because you don't really know, but terrifying because you do know. You know the outcome, you know what's going to happen, you know how things are going to play out. Terrifying in the sense that You're not actually the worst person there. You're just believing a lie that you are. People with no morals, people with no values, and people who have everything focused around themselves. Basically, they're number one. Not you, not anyone else, not God, not the church. It's horrifying when you realize just how bad things can get. I mean, we are all human. We have a beginning just like we have an end. I meant to say that backwards, but whatever. We don't last in the way that others last. What we leave behind lasts. And possibly others will want that. I think they should want that, simply not just to learn, but to build upon as well. Yes, I plan on writing books. Yes, I plan on doing some other things. But this YouTube channel is a great start to poking around with what I've seen, what I understood, and in some cases, with what is not being talked about, specifically with the church and Scripture. I want to say that there's more topics to come, like church and business, church and finances, and why you never hear them talk about either one. Like, one of my questions I have, and I'll just throw this out here: what exactly makes other people think that preachers and pastors work hard at their job? They sit there reading the Bible for hours on end. They go out there and set things up, set events up, and then just stand in front and talk about whatever is at hand. Like, realistically, making money. I hate saying this, but it's only a point. Joel Osteen claims to have made most of his money through selling books, not through the congregation, his congregation. If that is true, that means there's a lot going on behind the scenes that is not being talked about on what is making his books be popular. Money is still a factor there, it's just never talked about. All right, until next time, it's been interesting.